The moment a buyer submits their interest, a race starts. Most developers don't know they're in it. Hi, I'm Andy. We create the website, the digital twin, and the automated follow-up system for boutique real estate developers at Wow Design. And in this video, I'll show you what happens to a buyer's confidence in the 60 minutes after they submit their interest. What most developers do, what actually works, and why this window matters more than most sales training ever talks about. So, what most developers do. Here's the default follow-up sequence for most boutique developers. First of all, the buyer submits a form, like a generic form. Interest is at its peak. The unit is real in their mind, but the form only has like generic fields like name, email address, and a text field, Then the automated email, that's not even like there every time. Some developers, some projects don't even send a confirmation email after somebody submits. So some have an automated email that's like, thanks for your interest, we'll be in touch. And third, the sales rep calls, sometimes in the next 24 to 48 hours, and sometimes even later. So this is not a follow-up system, this is a holding pattern. And while your buyer is sitting in that holding pattern, they're not just waiting, they're reconsidering. So what is the buyer doing while you wait? So a pre-construction is a 600 plus K commitment to something that doesn't exist yet, So this is really a scary first thing to do. So the moment a buyer submits their info, they're at their peak interest level. So the building is real in their head, the unit they looked at is specific, and they want to hear something back. They need some confirmation about it. But confidence in an unbuilt project isn't really stable. So every hour of silence is an hour they spend running different scenarios in their head. So for example, they run, what if this project stalls? Like doubt creeps in about the developer's track record and about the financial backing, or what if I can get a better deal next month? So they start browsing competing projects and comparing pricing. Or what if I'm moving too fast? Like another doubt creeps in, the excitement fades, and the cold field logic takes over, and they're like, oh man, maybe it's too early, maybe I should wait, maybe there comes something better, something different, there's different ways to it. So they would never say this out loud, but they're always thinking it. And they will just say, I'll think about it when your rep calls a day later or 2 days later. So the silence doesn't lose the lead, but it loses the confidence in the buyer. So why is speed everything? So here's the numbers that totally change how you think about this. Within 60 seconds, almost 25% of the leads convert. This is insane. You have to take care about this. Like 60 seconds, 25% lead conversion rate. And after 30 minutes, this drops down to under 5% already. And what do most developers do? They wait 24 to 48 hours. So you can see conversion rate is probably even lower by then. So you're not losing these leads because there is another or better project or a sharper sales pitch. You're just basically losing them to the gap between form submission and first contact. And that gap is completely fixable. So what the first 60 minutes should look like. Three messages, 3 jobs, and all automated. Your sales team doesn't have to do it. Running before your sales rep picks up the phone, of course. So, minute 0, instant confirmation. No thanks for your inquiry, their project, their unit. And what happens next? Send within 60 seconds of the form submission. So it lets the buyer know that they are in the right place and someone is paying attention to them. Then in the first 15 minutes, a unit summary. The exact floor plan, the live pricing, the current availability for the unit they were looking at, the specific unit. And before they've forgotten which one it was, or before a competing project sends their version first, or they start comparing or whatever, in the first 15 minutes. This is crucial and very important. And then within the first hour, it's the next step. So one action, low friction, book a call, reserve your spot, add to your shortlist, whatever. Not a pitch, just a clear path forward, while their intent is still that high. So what each message actually does for the buyer. These aren't just messages. Each one has a specific job, answering the questions every buyer is silently asking during a 600K decision. So the first one is the confirmation. It answers, is somebody paying attention? Is this real? Is this legit? You know. Second one is the unit summary. Answers the question, do they actually see what I was looking at? And it makes them just feel better if they know they're taken care of. They know that the sales team knows what they are about, like not starting from zero, from scratch. And then, of course, the next step prompt. It answers the, is there a clear path forward from here? So they have clear future. They know how it goes, like what's happening now, what's happening next, and so on. Because in a pre-construction build, this is so important because people lose trust, they lose interest and everything, and you have to keep them on the line. And every buyer running this decision in their head is asking all three of them. So, and usually without knowing it. But when you answer them before the call, then the call starts from trust and not from zero. This is so important. Trust is so important nowadays with all the digitalization and like premium digital products and everything. Nothing will beat trust. So let's see how the different phone calls could look like between like if you have the sequence or if you don't use the sequence that we use. So without the sequence, your rep call is probably calling your rep calls probably 24 hours later, even 48 hours or maybe some days later, and the buyer probably says, I'm still thinking about it, I need time, whatever. And because the rep just starts from scratch, he's re-explaining the whole project, re-establishing the interest, rebuilding the context. The buyer lost that overnight. The buyer probably doesn't even know the unit he selected himself anymore. But with the sequence, your rep calls and the buyer already knows the unit. They already has a pricing in front of him, already took a next step. And sales rep, he knows everything about it. He exactly knows which unit, how long he looked at this unit. Maybe he's like not really sure about it, but he picked one unit and required for this unit. But the sales rep still can see that he also was interested maybe in another corner unit or at a different floor. And your sales rep can start from there and like give them the trust so they know what they're talking about. So this is the same rep, the same project, but like completely different conversations. And your follow-up system isn't a sales tool. It's basically a confidence maintenance system. The call is just confirmation of a decision the buyer already made. You just have to confirm it and to close the deal. What's next? I'm Andy Bittner, founder of Wow Design. We built the website, the digital twin, and the automated follow-up system for boutique real estate developers. So your sales team always knows who's ready to buy before they pick up the phone. So if you want to use our free carry cost calculator and see what's selling out 1 to 6 months faster is actually worth on your project, enter your numbers and get your result. You can find the link below in the link description. If you want to see a live demo, see all the three systems, website, digital twin, and automated follow-up working together, the link is below to book your walkthrough. If you're running pre-sales already and your follow-up is still manual, let's talk. Link below to the call and we can see how we can help you. And don't forget to subscribe. I break this down every week. Pre-sales, buyer behavior, and what's actually working in boutique real estate sales.